Yo, what is up, Kings? I hope all is well. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic week wherever you may be, and of course, however you may be listening. We're back at it for another car ride rant. I'm going to dive right into this one. So the question is, do women become more attractive with age? You see this commonly asked on the dating on dating podcasts. And in all honesty, hearing girls answer, there's a few common questions that are asked of women on these panels that are perfect baseline questions for their belief system and why they act the way they do. Like if you were ever unsure of why girls do this or they do that, or why things are so fucked up, you needn't look any further than how they answer these questions. And so one of the questions is, as I already said, do women get more attractive with age? Commonly, the answer when it comes to men is yes, because the things that make a man attractive are not purely beauty type things. They're not purely physical type things. But even if they were, actually, you can make a case that men actually do get better looking physically because men do not use makeup and all kinds of crazy chemical stuff all over their body from the time they're 12 years old. Another way that this question is asked is, or for our purposes, another way to look at it is, as a woman gets older, is her marketplace value for a relationship, not for sex, for a relationship, does it increase and get better as she gets older, or does it decline? And the answer to both forms of questioning or argumentation or cross-examination is no. Of course, fuck no, women don't get better with age. Now, in my professional world, I do, there's another video that I'm about to post that I touch on this. If you go to middle class to upper middle class to wealthy areas, you will commonly see very attractive women over the age of 30, okay? So, women who are younger will utilize this fact as like a one-size-fits-all that they will get better. And it's like, okay, just because a certain segment of the population of women looks okay after the age of 30 doesn't mean that they look better. And it certainly doesn't mean that that happens to all women. Just because you look good at 35 doesn't mean that you look better than you did when you were 25. Not even close, because even with these women, I can see that they start to get wrinkles, that the sun, because a lot of women commonly lay out in the sun, their skin becomes damaged. So that's just the physical aspect of it, okay? Women do not get better with age. Is there like maybe 1% of women that when they were 18, they were fat as fuck and they, shed a bunch of lbs, and by the time they're 30, they look better? Are there like fringe cases like that? Sure. But 99% of the time, women do not get better with age. And they know this. Deep down, they know this. Which is why when they hit 30, they begin to have such an internal, especially if they aren't already married, they start to have such an internal desire to get married, because not only is it a mental thing that they know deep down inside, but it's also a physical thing. It's their body telling them, you're running out of time, sweetheart. You're running out of time. You fucked up. The other aspect to this is the mental part and the personality part, as women like to say. So when women answer these questions, they commonly assign how they view attraction towards men. They assign it to how men view them and view their attraction. Now, again, deep down inside, women know that this is not the case. There's a lot of things. Of the two sexes, women are the deceivers, okay? There are a lot of things. In fact, women deep down inside know a lot of things in their heart of hearts. In fact, they're quite good at knowing these things and having insight into these things. Where the problem lies is, of course, within their lies. Women are able to do such contortions in mental gymnastics that it's not that they convince themselves, but they are okay living within this deception. Women are much more comfortable doing that than men are. So, personality-wise, no, women do not become better with age. In fact, in a lot of ways, they get worse. Yes, our young, hot women, sometimes a little snobby and snooty and rude. Yeah, that sometimes is the case. But I would argue that if somebody is bitchy, they pretty much remain bitchy throughout their lives. Like, I know one of the worst women I've ever met in my life. Fuck that. One of the worst people I've ever met in my life that I need to drop a video on one of these days is well into her 40s. Like, if you're a bitch, you're just a bitch, okay? If you're a dickhead, you're just a dickhead. Now, theoretically, can it get better? Perhaps. But I would argue that with age, it becomes a lot harder to change than when you're younger. If you don't have that shit nipped in the bud by the age of 30, it's likely to remain the same. There's a quote, I wish I said this earlier in the podcast. There's a quote from Mad Men, which is a good show. I highly recommend. Yes, it does have a certain tilt to it as far as its kind of liberal outlook, and yes, the creator belongs to a certain tribe, but overall, comparatively speaking, when you look at what else is out there on TV or has been out on TV, it's a lot better than most. But Roger Sterling, one of the best characters in that show, he says when him and Donald Draper go out, he says that they go to a bar and they're checking out two hot chicks. And Roger Sterling, when looking at one of the chicks, says at a certain age, they lose that quality. He says it's like at the age of 30, a light is just turned out. And he's talking about how younger women have this youthful glow to them. And he's absolutely, positively, 1000% correct on that. I know that because as a sports official, I officiate high school varsity games, both boys and girls. And I've even commented on this in previous videos. And even if I didn't do that, I would know as an adult now how women are versus when they're younger. I have even noticed that when they are in that range, that youthful range, and this even carries over, I would say, until at about 25 years of age, they have this glow about them, this positivity, this sparkle about them that just really does get turned out like a light.